Let's go ahead and add a toolbar at the bottom of the screen that contains where we can type in some type of text message, what's called a text input field. You'll notice that the top of the page is contained inside of something called Ion header, and most of the content is contained inside of Ion content. We're now going to add another section at the bottom called Ion-footer. Inside of this footer, we're going to add something called a toolbar. If I save this, a toolbar should appear at the bottom of our screen. However, it doesn't have anything right now. I can't enter in any text messages. So what I'll do is I'll add in a field called an ion-input. And the type of input that I'm going to accept is what's called text. And I do have to have a closing tag for it. Now I have the ability to actually click here and type something in. That isn't exactly obvious to the user, so we can add what's called a placeholder. The placeholder text will appear inside of the text field. We probably also want the ability to click send or have a send button. So we'll add something called a button with a special directive called Ion button. And inside of that tag, if I put send, I'll have a send button. Now, this send button looks a little bit weird, right? It's got two things wrong with it. The first problem is that it's extremely large and not well formatted. And the second thing is that it's appearing underneath the input. So we actually have to enclose this inside of another special tag called ion-buttons, plural. This will format the buttons inside of our toolbar to look more like a toolbar button. There's one more problem though. It still appears below our text message entry field. So we'll go ahead and add in a special directive inside of Ion buttons called end. And this will take that button and place it at the end of our field. That's great. Now you'll notice, however, that if I type some messages, it still doesn't do anything. But that's the next step. Usually when people write apps like this, they come up with the user interface first, and then after the user interface looks correct, we'll add functionality into it later.